Jason Gaddis, how are you?
Good. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad that you came to the studio. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I'm not I actually does not know nothing almost about you, just my own research, and I talk with Kyle a little bit
Hmm.
to get a little bit more information. And we talk about now that you are a relationship coach and you're an entrepreneur and you run your business how many years?
I've been mostly working with people for 22 years, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Run a business 22 years and still be able to be alive from that. It's really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been a lot of good mistakes and lessons.
Hmm. So if you start with that, what is the biggest mistake that you ever did in business?
Ooh, going right there. Over delegating to my incompetent team.
Okay. What it's mean exactly?
Means I was getting burnt out in the business and I thought I had a really good person, like a operator. So I said, cool, you kind of run the business, but and then I turned my back and just went and rested and recovered and did the work I like to do. And I just didn't have, even though we were meeting on a regular basis, I didn't have my hand on the pulse inside the business. And we just kept taking on debt and overpaying people. And yeah, she was just doing favors for people that I didn't really know about. So I just found a big mess when I looked away too long, too far. So that's on me. So it's
Nice.
painful.
So what is the advice that you can give to someone that's in the same position that you are right now?
I'd say if you're going to delegate, there's a proper way to delegate. I'm still learning it, so I'm not the expert here. But definitely don't delegate and look away. Like you got to hold people's hand more. It's more like rock climbing. If you're going to teach someone how to rock climb, you wouldn't hand them a rope and a belay device and say, "Good luck, belay me or belay this person," and walk away. You would show them how to do it until you felt like they were capable and competent, right?
That's that's true. I
Yeah.
love that. So for now, let's hear who you are a little bit. Like what you're doing every day.
Yeah. Well, I'm a husband and a dad of two teenage kids. I've been married almost 18 years, together 22 years about. And I love being married. I love being a dad. So that's who I am first. Um, and then I'm a business owner. I'm teaching people how to communicate and relate better in their most important relationships. And one of the things I focus on most is how to repair after we have a conflict or a disagreement, because most people aren't very good there in their most important relationships. We all communicate fine, but you get married or you get into a long term relationship, and people, they go more into the back part of their brain when they get activated and triggered, and they act like children and they blame and defend and they do a bunch of things that aren't good for the relationship. And they lose the ability to be a team player. And relationships a team sport. So I teach people how to do that part of their life well, and then I train coaches on how to work with people also, because I got really busy, and then I was like, I need to teach people how to do what I do so I can reach more people, and I can say yes to people when they come ask for help instead of no.
That's interesting. How you know what to say to some person? Because every person is different. Like I react different than Yuda, and Yuda react different to that person. Like what
Yeah.
is your system to learn about the people that you work with before you tell them what to do?
Yeah, I get to know them, right? And I try to find out where they're making the mistakes. And most people are making mistakes when they listen, not when they speak. All of us know that it's not good to call your partner a mean name during a conflict. Like that's common sense, right? But not everybody knows how to listen to their partner when they're really triggered and stressed. They tend to defend themselves. They tend to wait their turn to get a word in and like, oh, I want to share my side of the story and tell you what's right and you're wrong, and that doesn't go anywhere. We're gonna go in a circle. So I teach people a process called LUFU. It stands
Okay,
for listen until the other person feels understood. And so if we have the goal is if you and I are in a fight, I'm going to listen to you not until I think I understand you, but until you tell me you feel understood.
That's interesting. And now, like, when you go into debate with your partner, with your in the relationship,
Yeah.
how you know that I feel that I understand you? Because most of the people does not want even to hear the other side when they fight.
Yeah. Well, if you're willing to and you're mature enough to listen until the other person feels understood, you just check in. You say, "Are you feeling understood? Is there anything else you want me to, get about you and what you're upset about?" And you could be calling me an asshole. You could be calling, you say, "Hey, Jason, it's all your fault because you did X, Y, and Z." And if I'm listening well, I say, "Okay, let me get this straight. So you feel like I did everything wrong and I did this and I did that, and that's a problem, and that makes you feel angry and sad. Is that right?" And then you say, "Yeah." And I say, "Okay, that makes sense. Your feelings make sense to me." That's me listening to you until you feel understood. And then I say, "Is there anything else that you are upset about?" And you keep telling me until I keep listening until you feel understood.
So it's like to be therapy, like talk therapy in the middle of a fight with your partner.
It could be seen as that. I don't see it as therapy at all. I see it as just being a good listener.
Okay.
Yeah.
What it was like one of difficult situation in your life that you felt that you need to show to yourself what you teach others.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of moments. I've had students get upset with me, my team get upset with me, my wife get upset with me, my parents get upset with me. These are all moments in my life where, you know, practicing what I preach really matters. Can I put in the effort even though I'm really upset? Can I still put in the effort and show this person I care about them? And some people that want to blame me and take no responsibility, like if you were just like, "Jason, this is all your fault. I did nothing wrong," I'm probably not going to be in a relationship with you because it's never going to work. But if you're willing to take responsibility also, and if you're also willing to listen to me until I feel understood, then we're in business. But I don't enter into relationships with people that aren't going to play like that.
That's interesting. No, and if I take that to your teenagers, children,
Yeah.
when I was teenager, I was like shit. I was fight with my family, with my parents. I
Yeah.
didn't want to listen because when you're a teenager, you think you know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like how you can take care of like when your son or your daughter come to fight you.
Well, it doesn't happen much because we have a really good culture in my family. So we've worked really hard to be a highly communicative, highly emotionally intelligent family. And, if they get upset, I just listen. I do exactly what I just talked about. And I say, "Okay, son or daughter, it sounds like you're really mad at me because I did the thing." And then I validate their feelings. This is a really important move. And we do that with 3 words. Like, that makes sense. So I can just say, "Your feelings make sense." I can say, "What your anger makes sense to me because of what I did or didn't do." That's huge. A lot of parents miss that. They tend to, again, defend or say, "Well, it's okay," or they try to fix or problem solve or soften the thing or apologize too quickly. And most kids just want to be heard and validated, like, because they want to know they're not crazy, that they picked up on something that didn't feel good.
Nice. And you think there is a difference between the relationship as a teenager to the 20s to when you're married?
Uh, yes, for the obvious reasons that teenagers are focused on different things and themselves and trying to find their way and their values and listening to music and rebelling but they're no different than a 16-year-old. My son is no different than a 50-year-old man. They both want to feel understood, and they both want to be loved and accepted for who they are. They don't want to be judged and criticized and told they're wrong and told them they need to be different. All that's like a human desire in our hearts is we just want to be loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think, I feel that in this world, in this age, right now, when you're 20, 25, 26, like relationship is like become the less priority of people.
Yeah.
And it's not only that, it's like when you're in a relationship, you prioritize that less. You prefer to be with your friend or to be alone or not even listen to your partner. And then you can see, I
Yeah.
think there is like more than 50% divorce in like to my generation. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, why is that in your opinion? And how people can fix that and make that better?
Well, a lot of it's parenting. People are just not straight up parented well. And parents now are handing kids phones at a very young age and screens. And so kids are getting all their parenting from the screen. They're like pacifiers. So kids are getting softer, weaker. They're not getting their muscles, their relational muscles flexed because they do relationship through their screen. And it's easier. I can sit and blame you through text or on social media, and I can walk away and I don't have to look in your face. I don't have to look in your eyes.
Yeah.
It's much harder to do look in your eyes and tell you off or tell you I dislike you right now or whatever. So young people are being trained out of our innate ability to connect and relate well, and they're just getting lazy. So we've got that problem. And then in addition, we're not taught how to communicate and work through conflict very well in school. That's why I started a school. We're not taught, we're not shown by our parents. Most of our parents have a lot of challenges, and we sort of learn through modeling, right? Whatever we watch for 18 years, that's kind of what we get. Oh, this is how you do conflict. You avoid it, or you fight and yell and raise your voice all the time. That's how you do conflict. Or you hit people, or you walk away and never talk to them again. You cut people out of your life. Like our parents are modeling that stuff all the time, right? And then we have the movies, which is promoting fantasies and fairy tales about you just meet the right person and everything just kind of magically works out. So all of this contributes to people being really underdeveloped relationally. So they get into a long-term relationship like marriage, and it gets hard, and they just hit the eject button, or they blame and kind of hunker down in their position rather than learning how to be a team and learning how to communicate and learning how to work through conflict. So there's a lot of variables.
When you say a team, what do you mean?
Well, just like think of any two-person sport, like tennis, or two-person volleyball, like doubles tennis, or like any dance, tango or ballroom dancing or something, or beach volleyball. Two people have to work extremely closely and really well together, and they have to communicate extremely well. And when one person is sitting on their ass on the sidelines and the other person is doing all the work, that team is going to lose the game, right? Because they're not functioning as a team. And so you see this in marriages a lot, where one person gets interested in listening to your podcast or mine, and they want to work on themselves. They want to go to therapy or get some coaching. They want to journal, and they want to understand, like, wow, this is really hard. I want to learn. And sometimes they find themselves with a person who wants to sit on their couch and not do anything because they're not interested in it. They think they shouldn't have to try. They're very entitled. That relationship's just not going to work out, right?
That makes sense, yeah.
And so they don't know how to be a team. And I think, again, I played individual sports growing up. So I was on teams, but they were all just me, myself, and I. And so I never got good at being a teammate and learning how to collaborate really until marriage. And I'm still learning. I'm like, wow, my wife and I were just talking today. She's a much better team player than me. I think about myself and I forget about her sometimes. And that's my weakness as a teammate, right? But I know that, I'm aware of it, and I'm working on it. So, but a lot of people don't want to do that. They just want to have their cake and eat it too and not have to put any effort into being a great teammate. And which would never work in professional sports or like music or dance. You would get kicked off the team, right? Or you'd lose the game and then you wouldn't get the job. It'd be very straightforward.
Yeah, I feel that's really true. I play basketball and I did MMA when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
So it's like really team player and really individual sport athlete.
Yeah, you got both. That's good.
Yeah, I enjoy both of them. I think it's both of them by far different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always like try to speak with people, even when you with your friends, you have the same goals. When you go for vacation, when you build a business, the same goal.
Yeah.
And when someone like try to push harder and to get more, and the other does not want, it's like good partners and bad partners.
Yeah.
And my father always told me if there was like everyone that was a good partner, God will take a partner too.
Uh-huh.
But
yeah,
fact, like after my father is 35 years in business with his partner, and they separate the business right now because his partner and him doesn't get along together.
Wow.
And when I see that, and I say after 35 years, they didn't succeed, something happened there.
Right. Something happened there that they couldn't repair, right?
Yeah.
But maybe if they had The skills we're talking about here, maybe it's possible they could have worked through some of the differences that came up. Because men, especially, and older men in particular, there were no podcasts back then, right? For our parents' generation, there were no therapy wasn't a thing, and so you just tried to wing it and figure it out on your own, and that's not a great strategy.
Yeah. And I think it's like when I asked my mom, "Hey, how you learn how to be a parent?" She said, I didn't know. I just learned about your older sister.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to think
Yeah.
about that they learn
Mm-hmm.
in when they move. Like I able to learn about business from so many people, so many podcasts, so many like information there is online. You can ask ChatGPT any question that you have about business. It can give you 10 different
Yeah.
answers.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and even about relationships, you can have ChatGPT be your coach, your therapist if you want. You still got to do the work, but
Yeah.
it can point you in the right direction, which is helpful.
Hey, today I saw how many time people spent in the 19 in the 1900 in the 19 think 100 years ago
Mm-hmm.
with their family, and how it's changed during the years. So right now people spend more than 65% of their time online,
Yeah.
and less than 10% with the family and friends. Like 100 years ago it was like 35 family, 25% friends, and all the others like work.
Yeah.
And then it's like crazy that people spend more than 65% of their time online.
Yeah, and it gives the illusion of connection and relating, and because you're seeing people all the time, or you're talking to your friends on Snapchat or whatever social media you're on, but you're not really, and you don't have to look in someone's face and connect with them and sit down with them like we are right now. Something's majorly lost there.
It's
And
like,
again,
yeah.
we're just kind of atrophying there, I think.
It's like Mike Tyson once time say that people have so much courage to speak shit about other people online because they never get hit by a punch in the face.
That's right.
That's a big problem today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy to throw a grenade over to the other side online, and then because you don't have to look at them, you don't have to deal with them. You can just, and people are doing it all the time on Facebook and Instagram. It's
Non-stop.
gotten out of hand. Yeah.
Now I will take you for a different question.
Mm-hmm.
People speaking about that in young generation, when you are young, between the 20 to 30, don't go inside the relationship. They're like really warn you, don't go inside the relationship, focus about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and don't be in a relationship. What is your opinion about that?
I think that's advice coming from people who have negative experiences in relationship, and they don't know what they're talking about. If you have really amazing, deep relationships and you understand how they work, and you actually are capable inside of those in the hardest of moments, you think relationships are awesome and they're an amazing part of a good life. And you understand the Harvard study, the longest study done on human development ever, that's still going on. That basically the conclusion was the people that do the best into old age are people who focused on relationships and had good relationships into old age. Those people live longer, they have better mental health, less addictions, they're more connected, right? And so I don't like that advice personally. I understand it because it's like, yeah, focus on your career. But I would say, but not at the expense of your most important relationships. Learn how to get in relationships so that you can get some training.
Okay.
It's like go to the gym in your 20s so that when you're 50, your bones aren't brittle. Like you don't want to be brittle relationally. You want to be strong. So go get experience and get as close to people as you can, be as vulnerable as you can, and find out who can hang with you there.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
And now you know if relationship is good for you, and now you know if relationship is bad for you.
Yeah, generally, good relationships have a couple of features. They have shared values that we enjoy doing things together. And they know how to repair mistakes and miscommunications and conflict. And I mean that by, again, you and I are in a relationship, let's say, if I can take responsibility and you can't, it's never going to work. If you always blame me and never say, yeah, I have a part in this, it's not going to work. If, on the other hand, we both know how to LUFU each other, LUFU, as we talked about earlier, and we both own our part, we both can validate each other's feelings, and you are in that's a really, really good sign. Bad signs are, again, people who run away from problems, who think relationships should be easy, who blame you for the relationship being hard. It's just, again, we're talking about a teammate that it's like, why would you sign up for a many-year, possibly many-decade relationship with someone who doesn't want to be a team player? So there's some easy ways to, and again, in the beginning, we all do relationships really well in the first year because of the honeymoon stage. We fall in love or we get infatuated, and it's easy because
Yeah.
we seem so similar. But give it a year, 2 years, 3 years, when we get some stress in the system and we start getting triggered, we move in, we join our finances, and you start getting annoying to me, and you leave your shit all over the house, and I'm kind of messy in the kitchen, and you have a bunch of debt I didn't know about, and all of a sudden we're really irritated. That's when it gets real. And so really you can't really test a relationship until you're 2 to 3 years in. Then it starts to get real. And then you add stuff that make it stressful, then you know who you're with.
And what do you think about all the prenup agreement, all the agreement that people try to do before they get married? Like, you think
Yeah.
it's good to the relationship or bad?
I mean, that's an individual choice. I didn't do a prenup because my wife and I have the ability, even though we've hurt each other and we've had some big challenges over our, almost 2 decade long relationship. We're just not the kind of people that would like come after and attack and say, this is all mine and you don't get anything, or fight over assets or fight over our kids. We're just not that way. So we chose not to. Um, some people, I think it's a good move, especially if one person has zero money and one person has a lot of money. I understand why you would do that. But again, I want to be playing a game in life that is relational. And so even if it turns bad, our relationship, we break up and we divorce or whatever, I still want to be a good person to you. That's my aspiration for myself. And I would hope you would want to be a good person to me. And then couldn't we just talk about things and find our way? But that's very hard for people. So prenups, I think, are a fine kind of insurance policy.
Yeah, that's like, I think you can see like something really sad today, that a lot of young men say that they cannot be in a relationship, and they give example, see about all the richest and the most successful men in the world, that their wives, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Sylvester Stallone, all that guys, their wives ask for a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And they always say if they can't hold a woman and be with a woman for the rest of their life, how we as a simple, regular guys
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Because a lot of people speak about all the time in the social media. And
Yeah, of course. Well, I think it's Jeff Bezos and Elon and those guys are being unfairly portrayed. That meaning if we really sat down, we got married to those guys, we would think they're a disaster in a relationship, right? They would be very hard to be in a relationship with. Why? Because they're so focused on the business. Business and making money is number one to them. The relationship is never going to be number one to them. But if you and your partner make the relationship number one, the most important thing, it's pretty hard to lose if you both agree to that. And then your business can be second most important thing, and her business can be second most important thing. And then if you get training and skills in learning how to relate, connect, listen, communicate under stress, which Jeff Bezos, I'm guessing, never did, and Elon Musk never did, because they just don't think that way, then I think you're protecting yourself from divorce, and you're protecting yourself from relationship drama and pain. And if you and your wife or partner do that together, you can be an amazing team, and you can get through just about anything.
yeah,
And still have a successful business and change the world or whatever you want to do.
but you don't think like if they will not put the business as a first priority, they will not become who they are?
Yeah, I think they would never become who they are.
So it's good or bad that they put the business as the first priority?
It's not good or bad. It's just what is.
Okay.
It's okay that that's what they chose. It's their path, their dharma, and I think we're better for it in some ways, right? Because of what some of those guys have accomplished. There's certain people who are maniacally obsessed with their mission or their business that changes the world or has an impact on culture. And I'm glad those people don't have successful marriages because they wouldn't have invented the thing or created the thing that really helps humanity, right? So that's okay. Not everybody's going to be like me. I'm not going to be an Elon Musk or a Jeff Bezos, and I have no interest in that. I want to have an impact, right? But I don't, that's just not my path.
Yeah.
And so I'm not focused on business at the expense of relationship, but some people need to, like professional athletes, musicians. There's Michael Jordan level people that they are so obsessed with their thing that the relationships are going to suffer kind of everywhere. And that's different. That's fine.
But it's not a sacrifice that a woman that dating with that kind of guy need to know that she is doing, and she will never be the first priority, but she's gonna be like in the side in the queen like in the queen stage. I don't know how to say that right, but it's like if you date with someone like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or someone really driven,
Yeah.
and he's gonna be worth, let's say he's not gonna be Elon Musk, but he's gonna get $10 billion a year as income.
Yeah.
You don't need more than that to live full life about rich, really rich life.
Yeah. But you're going to always miss out on the heart to heart, deep connection because you won't ever know what that's like and you'll have lost that in your life. But a lot of women sign up for those kind of relationships because they want the money and the status and they don't care about this. But deep down, if we interviewed them, we'd probably find out that they do care about that and they just bet on the wrong guy and they're like, yeah, I guess I'm never going to get that.
So what you recommend to some young guy that's really driven into business, and his dream is to make that in business, to be able to make money,
Yeah.
but it's gonna come on his family, on his prioritize, because he's gonna prioritize the business first place for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's an African proverb that says you can go faster alone, but farther together. So you got to decide how do you want to relate to that quote? Do you want to go faster without a partner or with a partner who's fine being second or third place in your life? That's okay. If your partner signs on to that kind of program, that's okay. You're never going to have the kind of intimacy, though, that you claim you want if you claim you want it. But some guys don't want that. They're just like, I just want a partner so I don't have to be alone. I want good sex and I want to be successful. That's a very shallow guy, in my opinion. I think men are deeper than that if they're honest with themselves. That it's like, how do I have a deep, committed relationship and be really successful? How do I do that? Well, then we're talking about the second half of the proverb that we can go farther together. So I wonder if there's a way if I enroll my wife or girlfriend into my mission and I let her contribute and we actually co-create a vision for our life, how can we do it in a way that we both feel like a priority and we both feel loved and cared for and respected and honored for who we are? How can we do that? And each couple has to decide and answer that question themselves. But I also think guys should ask themselves, you know what? I'm probably not a marriage family guy. I'm a mission guy. And I'm like, cool, I respect that. Just be honest with every girlfriend you have and just tell them, look, this is who I am. And I'm probably never going to be the guy that's like available emotionally and having you feel like a priority. That's probably not me. So if you're looking for that, maybe it's better you go find a different guy. So if you're upfront about it, I think it's fine.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying to the girls that I date with. Like I just date couple of months ago with a woman that I told her when we start date, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
This is who I am.
Yeah.
Until I will not get like children, I will be 100% on the business because I want to make that work before I'm gonna get the children.
Yeah.
That when I get the children, I will be able to decide
Yeah.
if I want to work 16 hours a day or if I want to work 2 hours a day,
Right.
and decide how much time to be with the children.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of women that does not accept that.
Yeah, that's great. And so I think that's okay, right? It's like you guys aren't a match. The timing's not right.
Yeah,
That's all right.
that's life.
Yeah, that's life.
You work with your wife?
Yes and no.
Okay.
She's a couples therapist, so we're in the same space. So she works with people also, and she's very good at it. And so I started this school, and I had her come in and be like a guest teacher at times. and which was fine, but she never felt like it was a true collaboration because she was always coming into my thing. And so now, just in the last year, we're talking about collaborating from the ground up on a new project, a new podcast, couples groups, couples retreats. And it's really exciting because we're both psyched about it. And it's a true full on, like, we're doing this together. It's not my idea and she's coming along. It's not her idea and I'm coming along. It's our idea. And we're going to manifest it and make it come true and
Nice.
make it happen.
How people can find you?
A couple ways. Relationshipschool.com is one way. JasonGaddis.com. Jason with a Y. Instagram, I'm Jason Gaddis most places. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you work only face to face or online too?
No, I work online. Most of my courses and programs are online, but I'm doing more and more in-person events this year. And coaching, I do mostly virtually.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, for the end, what is the best advice that you can give to some young couple that's try to find a way up, or for old couple that already 10, 20 years in the relationship and feel that it's gonna collapse?
Yeah. Well, come together and decide what kind of relationship you want individually and together. Like, do I want an awesome, extraordinary relationship, or do I just want a relationship? Because those are two different
Okay.
things, right? So that's number one. And then number two is, if you want an extraordinary, badass, beautiful, deep, connected relationship, you've got, I always say, if there's one skill out of all the skills I teach that you got to learn, it's repair, conflict repair. So you're going to get into conflict for the rest of your relationship at times, whether it's once a week, once a month, once a day, once a year. So you might as well get very good at repairing the conflict. And it's actually the conflict repair process that strengthens the foundation of any good relationship. Think of weight training. You don't get stronger by not lifting the weight and avoiding the gym. You get stronger through resistance training and pushing up against your edge of what's hard. That's the same in a relationship. You push up against each other to create a strong relationship.
That's really good advice. Yeah, I learned a lot about relationship. I hope so. I will be able to feed that in my relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You absolutely will. You're a growth-oriented person. So, right, because you're doing what you're doing in this world and we're having this conversation. So chances are you're going to do that.
I'm trying to do my best.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good
Yeah.
hanging.
It was a really nice conversation.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you, Yuda.